You wake up at 5 a.m. cold shower workout. Healthy breakfast, no distractions. Discipline, discipline, discipline. Everyone on the internet tells you discipline is the answer. Jocko Willink says discipline equals freedom. David Goggins says stay hard. Every productivity guru worships at the altar of discipline. And you believe them, so you built the perfect routine. You track everything, you optimize everything. You never miss a day. But here's what nobody tells you. You're exhausted, you're irritable. You snap at people you love. You can't remember the last time you actually enjoyed something. You're hitting your goals, but you're miserable. And deep down you're starting to wonder, is this working? Or is this slowly destroying me? The Stoics had a word for what's happening to you, and it's not what you think. Marcus Aurelius, the most disciplined emperor in history, wrote something in his private journal that nobody talks about, something that reveals the dark side of discipline, the side that can poison your life if you don't understand it. In the next 11 minutes I'm going to show you what he discovered. Why discipline, the thing everyone worships, can become your prison. And the one Stoic principle that separates healthy discipline from self-destruction. Because there's a version of discipline that frees you. And there's a version that slowly kills you. And right now you might be practicing the wrong one. Let me tell you about Marcus Aurelius. He was the most powerful man in the world. Emperor of Rome, commander of armies, he could have anything he wanted. Do anything he pleased, but Marcus was different. He was a Stoic, he believed in discipline. Self-control, virtue. Every morning he woke before dawn. He studied philosophy, he trained his body. He managed the empire with ruthless efficiency. He never indulged, never complained. Never took the easy path. From the outside he was the perfect Stoic, the perfect disciplined human. But if you read his private journal, what we now call Meditations, you discover something shocking. Marcus was suffering deeply. He wrote how much more harmful are the consequences of anger and grief than the circumstances that arouse them. He wrote the art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. He wrote you have power over your mind, not outside events. These aren't the words of a man at peace, these are the words of a man at war with himself. And here's what nobody tells you about Marcus Aurelius: he died exhausted, worn down. Some historians believe the stress of his disciplined life, the constant war, the constant responsibility, the constant self-denial literally killed him. The most disciplined man in history destroyed by his own discipline. Now I know what you're thinking. But Marcus achieved so much, he was a great emperor. Discipline worked for him. Did it? Let's bring this to right now, your life. You've built the perfect routine. You wake up early, you work out, you eat clean, you're productive, you track your habits, you never miss. But here's what's actually happening beneath the surface: you're running on fumes. You're irritable. Small things bother you, you're productive, but you're not happy. You're disciplined, but you're not free. You've turned discipline into a prison. And the worst part, you think this is normal. You think suffering is the price of success. The Stoics have a word for this, they called it misguided virtue. It's when you take something good like discipline and twist it into something that destroys you. You become so obsessed with control, with perfection, with never breaking, that you break yourself. And this is where most people get Stoicism completely wrong. There are two types of discipline. One sets you free, one imprisons you. And if you don't know the difference, you'll spend your entire life in the wrong prison, wondering why success feels empty. Type 1, rigid discipline, the prison. This is the discipline most people practice. It's based on control, on forcing yourself, on never breaking, on perfection. Rigid discipline says never miss a workout, never eat the wrong food, never waste time, never show weakness, never deviate from the plan. Rigid discipline is a tyrant, it rules with fear, and fear is exhausting. Here's how you know if you're practicing rigid discipline. You feel guilty when you rest, you feel anxious when you break routine. You judge yourself harshly for small failures, you can't enjoy anything because you're always thinking about what you should be doing. You've become a slave to your own rules. And here's the sick irony: you created these rules to be free. To be better to have control, but now the rules control you. Marcus Aurelius practiced rigid discipline. And it wore him down. He achieved greatness, yes, but at what cost? But there's another type. Type 2 flexible discipline, the freedom. This is the discipline the Stoics actually taught, but it's not the version you see on social media. Flexible discipline isn't about control, it's about adaptation. It's not about forcing. It's about flowing. The Stoics had a concept called Amor Fati, love of fate. It means accepting reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Epictetus said, don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen. And you will go on well. This sounds like weakness, like giving up, like no discipline at all. But it's actually the highest form of discipline. Let me show you why. Rigid discipline says I must work out at 6 a.m. every day, no exceptions. Flexible discipline says I value fitness, I'll train today when the opportunity arises. Maybe 6 a.m., maybe 8 p.m. What matters is that I train, not when. See the difference? Rigid discipline says I can never eat dessert, sugar is poison. Flexible discipline says I eat healthy most of the time. Tonight I'm with friends, I'll enjoy this cake, and tomorrow I'll return to my normal habits. Rigid discipline says I must be productive every waking hour. Flexible discipline says rest is productive. Doing nothing is sometimes the most disciplined choice. Rigid discipline creates stress. Flexible discipline creates peace. Rigid discipline requires willpower. Flexible discipline requires wisdom. Rigid discipline breaks eventually. Flexible discipline bends and strengthens. And here's the part that will blow your mind. Flexible discipline is actually more effective long term. Because it's sustainable. You don't burn out. You don't rebel against yourself. You don't spend energy forcing yourself to do things. You align with reality instead of fighting it. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, was one of the richest men in Rome. He had everything: money, power, influence. But Seneca did something strange. Once a month he would give up everything. He would dress like a slave, eat the cheapest food, sleep on the floor. Why? Was this rigid discipline, self-punishment? No, this was flexible discipline. Seneca was practicing what he called voluntary discomfort. But here's the key: it was voluntary. And it was temporary. Seneca wasn't torturing himself. He was training his mind to be flexible, to adapt, to not need comfort. But he always returned to normal life after. Let me give you a test right now. This will reveal which type of discipline you're practicing. Think about your routine, your discipline, your rules. Now imagine breaking them. Imagine missing your workout tomorrow. Imagine eating something bad. Imagine wasting an entire day. How do you feel? If you feel panic, anxiety, guilt, you're practicing rigid discipline. You're a slave to your own rules. If you feel okay, if you think that's fine, I'll get back on track, you're practicing flexible discipline. You're free. The Stoics weren't trying to become robots. They weren't trying to eliminate all pleasure, all rest, all humanity. They were trying to become anti-fragile. A term coined by Nassim Taleb, but the Stoics understood it 2,000 years ago. Anti-fragile means you get stronger from stress. But you also know when to rest. You're disciplined, but you're not rigid. You're controlled, but you're not controlling. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. He was talking about external events, but this applies to your discipline too. You don't have to turn missing a workout into a crisis. You don't have to turn eating dessert into a moral failure. You don't have to turn rest into guilt. These are choices, and rigid discipline removes choice. Flexible discipline gives you choice. So how do you practice flexible discipline? How do you stay disciplined without becoming a slave? Here are the 3 Stoic principles nobody teaches you. Principle 1: the 80-20 rule of virtue. The Stoics believed in virtue, but they also believed in practical wisdom. Here's the rule: be disciplined 80% of the time. Be flexible 20% of the time. The 20% isn't failure. It's maintenance. It's what keeps you human. It's what keeps you sustainable. Rigid discipline tries for 100% and eventually breaks. Flexible discipline aims for 80% and never breaks. Principle 2: the progress principle. Epictetus said it's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters. Apply this to discipline. You missed your workout. Rigid discipline says I failed, I'm weak, I'm starting over. Flexible discipline says I missed one workout. I'm still making progress, tomorrow I'll train. See the difference? Rigid discipline measures perfection, flexible discipline measures direction. As long as you're moving forward most of the time, you're winning. Perfection is a prison. Principle 3, the Amor Fati practice. Every night before sleep, do this. Think about tomorrow, think about your plans, your discipline, your routine. Now say this. Tomorrow I will do my best, but I will also accept whatever happens. If things go wrong, I will adapt. If I break my routine, I will not break myself. This is Amor Fati, love of fate. This is flexible discipline. You plan, you try, you commit. But you don't attach your identity to perfect execution, you remain free. Here's the paradox the Stoics discovered. True discipline isn't about control. It's about letting go of control. True strength isn't never breaking, it's bending without breaking. True freedom isn't doing whatever you want, it's wanting whatever happens. Marcus Aurelius wrote these words near the end of his life. Confine yourself to the present. Not to the perfect routine, not to the perfect plan, to the present moment. Right now, what can you do? Do that and let go of everything else. That's flexible discipline, that's Stoic wisdom. So here's what you do tomorrow morning. When you wake up, instead of forcing yourself through a rigid routine, ask yourself, what does today need from me? Maybe it needs hard work, maybe it needs rest. Maybe it needs discipline, maybe it needs flexibility. And then do that without guilt. Without judgment, without making it mean something about your worth. This is how you practice discipline without becoming its slave. This is how you become anti-fragile. This is how you become truly free. If this changed how you think about discipline, let me know in the comments. Tell me, are you practicing rigid or flexible discipline? And if you want more Stoic wisdom that actually makes sense in real life, not the Instagram quote version, subscribe to this channel. Because we're just getting started. Next video I'm revealing the one Stoic practice that eliminates 90% of your decisions. And it's not what you think. See you there.